It's wake-up call in Mavinga, a village in southeast Angola. The army drill at 5:30 a.m. sharp is the invariable morning ritual. It's the sign for people to start crowding to the end of the runway, waiting for a plane to take them away from Mavinga. In April 2002, following the death of Jonas Savimbi, UNITA, weakened by a bloody bush war and United Nations sanctions against its diamond trade, signed a ceasefire with the government. As a result, 5,000 former UNITA fighters became part of the armed forces of Angola, the FAR. But the rest of the troops, 50,000 men, were to return to civilian life with the help of the government. The entire population of ex-soldiers and their families, some 300,000 people, and the civil population displaced by war were to be sent back to their lands of origin as part of the peace process. Mavinga is a transit camp, the first step in the relocation process. It's in the province of Cubango, a UNITA stronghold in southeast Angola. Mavinga was a strategic location for UNITA in one of the biggest battles fought during the Civil War and was turned into a minefield. Today, the only so-called safe place is the transit camp, a demined field where people wait for weeks on end in appalling conditions before being sent to 33 quartering areas all over the country and then back home.
Where is home? Where? Where are they going to go to today? Now they are all gathered together. They left the villages where there were a minimum of life conditions, and now they are going to return to the high plateaus back home. But their homes do not exist anymore. There aren't any villages left. Everything was devastated by the war.
What people fear most here, because here we're in a stronghold of UNITA people who have been here for a long time, is to go back and not know anyone, that their mothers won't recognize them anymore. Their mothers are probably dead. It's been 25 years. So I have the impression that many people stayed here. Maybe half, maybe less. It's difficult to tell now. People preferred to stay here in Cubango, near Mavinga, because, in fact, this is the place they know.
But the majority of the population of UNITA villages were transferred to Mavinga. Some of the villages are now empty, razed to the ground and burned by the FAR. So, since March 2003, Mavinga has registered 8,000 to 10,000 UNITA ex-fighters and their families every month. The peak was in April with 14,000, a record number for such a cramped space. Agostinho Materno and his group are newly arrived in Mavinga. Agostinho was separated from his family in 1976 and has had no news from them since. His story is typical of Angola, a family caught in the crossfire of civil war. Agostinho was a convinced UNITA supporter at the age of 12 and was separated from his people, who'd been captured by the MPLA. Today, at 40, he has a family of 7 and heads a group of 63 people who look to him for guidance. He has no choice but to go back to his province of origin, which he left 27 years ago.
É uma imposição, porque é claro, há certas pessoas que querem partir para suas terras de origem.
It's been imposed on us. Some people want to leave to go back to their homeland, and others want to stay because they have their possessions here. But the government is forcing us to leave, so we are going to leave without knowing where we're going, left to our own devices.
Porque agora estamos a sortear. Agora, qual é o dinheiro que vai nos...
With what money are we going to go back to our villages? And what is that money going to bring us? It's total confusion, and we wonder about the future. Nobody knows what our future will be like.
Vamos ambicionar aonde? Será que o governo terá
Where we're going, can the government support us and provide us with jobs when there is so much unemployment in Angola? There are no jobs and we're coming from the bush, so who is going to employ us? I have doubts.
Para lá, seremos empregados? Eu tenho uma dúvida na minha vontade de pensar.
Augustinho got his first taste of civilian life on his arrival in Mavinga. He and his people were left to their own devices for the night. The next day they were allocated a space on the edge of the camp. Augustinho is the picture-perfect UNITA officer, a throwback to the Maoist past of his party. Disciplined, punctual, articulate. He has misgivings about the future, but he follows his orders. The war is over, he has laid down his arms, but still he resents the fact that he had to surrender his officer's cap as soon as he arrived at the camp.
Sinceramente, há muita intimidação.
Sincerely, there's a lot of intimidation. Here, soldiers command and we want to establish peace among the armed forces, then transfer it to the civilians.
Vamos transferir essa paz para os civis.
We want everybody to be protected by the law. From now on, wherever we go, we will be protected. But if the armed forces continue to intimidate ex-UNITA soldiers, I think they're making a mistake. This is not the agreement we heard about on the radio. We don't know what the government is doing. Up there, peace really exists, but here, there is a lot of discord.
There are many stories of violence, rape and forced displacements. The excesses of the FAR and the police have been criticized by human rights organizations. In the beginning, in Mavinga, there were also problems, but they were quickly curbed because of the presence of the international community. Today, there is no apparent trouble, but an underlying tension, a subtle play of power between victor and vanquished.
That's a little bit the government's feeling. We eliminated Jonas, we demilitarized UNITA, there's nothing left for us to do. So there's a feeling of victory. But that's where the danger lies, because the risk is that even if the armed conflict ends, there's no stability.
La fin du conflit armé et de ne pas avoir la stabilité.